Hello and welcome to our little family farm here in Buckeye, Arizona. This week we're going to build some garden boxes out of fence bricks. Since we moved here 3 years ago, we've really wanted to create garden boxes so we could grow our own vegetables. We've tried to grow them in the ground with little success, so garden boxes should help us to grow some. When we have completed all 5 boxes that we're going to build, we should have about 305 square feet of gardening space in our raised beds. All 5 of these garden boxes will cost about $350, so that's only about $70 each, which isn't too bad. We decided to go with brick instead of wood because we do have irrigated property here, and so when we irrigate, the wood would have a tendency to rot over time.
Alright, let's talk about the design of this. This is going in our garden enclosure that's about 50 feet by 20 feet. We got a tree that's on the north side, a small garden box on the south side, and a gate that's on the west side. We're going to put 3 of them on the east side of this garden enclosure and 2 on the west side. They're going to be in a U shape, so that way we can access the entire garden box from the center and the outsides. We're also going to put some irrigation drip tape along the center to make sure everything gets watered. We're going to lay out the first layer of bricks in that U-shaped pattern along the ground in mortar as we go. You'll notice as we go along with this and you see outside, there's going to be some sections of brick that we do have to cut. After we lay down that first layer of bricks on the ground, we'll go ahead and mortar the second layer of bricks and offset them slightly to improve strength and look.
So here's our garden enclosure. You can tell it's pretty empty. What we've done already is we've killed all the weeds. Now we're about ready to put about 5 of those garden boxes in all around here, and we're going to start with the first one right over there. Alright, so I've got the first layer of bricks of the 2 layers already put down. That way I can measure out where I need to put my bricks, measure out all my cuts and all that. So next we're going to go over all the tools that you'll need to do this. Alright, so to start this, we need a couple of basic tools. Alright, we're going to need a circular saw with a masonry blade to go ahead and get those bricks cut just to make it fit perfectly. We're going to need mortar. In this case, I just got some pretty basic mortar. It's about $4.50 at the hardware store. To mix it, we're going to get a bucket and a stir stick attached to my drill. It's going to be a lot easier than using a wheelbarrow and try and move it back and forth with a hoe. With this, you just add water and spin it, and it mixes it up. Other things we're going to need here, we're going to need a trowel as well as a joiner. Now this joiner is going to be important because it'll help make the joints in between look nice and pretty, and this will help move the mortar. We'll also need a rubber mallet to kind of help get some of the bricks into better position as we get them put on, and then a level just to make sure the second layer is all ready and level to go.
Alright, here's something to note about how I got this laid out already. As you can tell, it's not perfect. It's going to be really difficult to get it in perfect lines and perfectly square, and to get the ground underneath it perfectly level to get the bricks lined up. So what we decided to do in the design of this is to make actually a second layer. So once we get the first layer and mortar all put in, it'll be mostly level, and then we'll be able to level out the second layer pretty easily by putting mortar on there, leveling it out, and then putting the brick on top of that, and it'll make it real nice and easy. You can tell by the way that some of the bricks are tilted left and some are right. Once we get the mortar on there and stick it to each other, that'll be able to fix that pretty easily.
Alright, so we're going to go and get this mortar mixed. The key thing here to remember is that you want it about the consistency of peanut butter. So you want it pretty thick, but you don't want it so thin it's going to run. The reason is because you want it to actually stick to the sides of the brick without sliding all the way down. Alright, so okay, one little trick here to note is you want to save a little bit of mortar left over of the dry mortar mix, because if you get it too wet, you need to add some dry stuff in to kind of get that right consistency going. So as you can tell, this is about the consistency. You're going to want it to maybe just a little bit wet. That'll be okay because it'll dry a little bit as we get going. Okay?
Alright guys, so let me explain this other tool that I kind of introduced earlier, but I never really explained. This is called a jointer. J-O-I-N-T-E-R. Jointer. So what this is used for is you get a lot of the overspray or excess, whatever you call it, mortar, whenever you put the bricks together. And this is used to clean up the joints. So I'll show you how it's used here. Just this. See, I'll get all that extra junk right there along the edges. Just goes right along there, cleans it up. So at least it looks semi-nice. So this was like $4 or $5, but it makes everything look really nice.
Basically, this one brick doesn't really fit in because I made the mistake of not taking into account the length that the mortar would add to it. So all we're going to do is put it basically in position. I'm going to mark it, and then we're going to go cut it. So in this case, we're using a circular saw like we mentioned before with the masonry blade. We just got to make sure to be careful that it's not too deep so it doesn't score the bottom of the brick, but it goes all the way through. It's going to take some time, but just be patient and it'll cut nicely through it. And now we'll fit it. Perfect. We're going to start mortaring that one last brick in as well as start on the second layer.
Alright, now all we got to do is cut this last brick, and then we'll mortar it up and it'll be all done. Alright, now it's all done. Go ahead and check out our next videos coming up on how we're going to irrigate this, whether we use drip tape, soaker line, or just a regular drip system, as well as what we're going to plant in here. Also make sure to hit the subscribe button below.